Hello and welcome back to the Go-Stroid development series. In today's video we'll be giving our asteroids the ability to split into smaller asteroids when their health hits 0. Now we're going to be doing that in a bit of an interesting way. The way that I was originally going to do this, and I actually started recording the video and then this clicked into my head so I immediately had to test it because that's just how I apparently work. I was going to do this through the signal bus by adding a new signal that gets emit when a asteroid goes kaput and gives its position and things like that. I was like, well, that's great, but we are spawning them in through the entity manager, and the entity manager was going to listen to this new signal. So let's actually just think about this real quick. If we come back into our entity spawner here, and we come down to the spawn asteroid function, we are doing a lot of modifying here already, where we are grabbing certain parts of the asteroid and we're adding things to groups, we're appending it, we can modify this like we do with the projectiles. And once again, if you remember with the projectiles, we use a lot of internalized signals to do little things. So that kind of led me onto this idea of, okay, well, why don't we open up our large asteroid real quick? Let's go do that. Let's go create the large asteroid TSCN. Let's go mess with this, go into its script, and then we scroll down and we remember that on death it's doing something. Okay, cool. But why don't we also just add a signal to this to be emit, right? So let's go and do that. Let's right here, let's go signal. We'll call this split underscore asteroid so we know exactly what it is. We will give it a parameter of current position. So current underscore position of type vector2, because that's pretty much the information that the entity spawner needs to know. It doesn't really need to know anything else other than the current position of the asteroid that is going kaput. And then we come all the way down to on health handler handle death here. So when our health handler is like we're going kaput, we're going to now just put in that signal, right? We're going to emit that split asteroid signal. Now it was really we need to pass through the current global position as a parameter. This is one of those things where my brain was overcomplicating this quite a bit, and this is something you'll run into with programming a lot, is you will randomly just decide that you want to overcomplicate something for no reason. You come back and look at it and be like, oh, I could have done that much, much simpler. So in this instance, this is the simple way of doing it. I can just do a internalized signal and then have this listen to it. But the question then becomes, if it's not a global signal, how do we connect to that, right? That's now the new issue. Let's go into the entity spawner and let's go to our spawn asteroid function. Now, to make our lives a little bit easier, the new asteroid that we are currently spawning, which is of type large asteroid, I'm going to give this a typecast as well for large asteroid. Now, this as here isn't entirely necessary. It's just to give us autocorrect. Now, why do we want autocorrect? Because now I can just write new underscore asteroid dot split underscore asteroid dot connect, and I can connect that to something. Now let me make sure that this is saved so I can make sure that spelling is correct. There we go. Dot connect, and now we can just connect it to a callable function like we would do with anything else. So for now, let's create a function for handle underscore. Actually, we'll just do this. We'll call it spawn underscore small underscore asteroid. Most of my script for this kind of went out the window because now I'm doing this on the fly because of new ways of doing this. So we'll do small asteroid here. We'll create a function for it. What does this function take? Well, we remember that it takes a position or a vector2. So we're going to need to make sure to do new underscore small underscore asteroid underscore position. That is a very, very long parameter name, but it will be fine. Lets us know what is going on. Seriously, I know it's a bit iffy or annoying to do really long parameter names, but you will thank yourself. Like future you will love past you or current you when you come back and look at your code and go, that's exactly what that's doing. So let's get to the void return type. So now we just create our new asteroid, right? That's all we do. What I'm going to do first is just make sure that this works. I'm going to go print, we'll go new small asteroid position. We'll do this as a string, so we'll string convert that real quick. And then we'll go plus splitting asteroid. So you're getting to kind of see a bit of the behind the scenes right now because this was pre-planned and now it's not. So let's go hit run project and go and blow up a rock. And there we go. And as you see, it's got a position coordinate here and it's saying splitting asteroid. That is perfect. That's everything we want. That's everything we need. Now, if we scroll up, we go back to our spawn asteroid here. We're doing a lot of things inside of this function. Is that being angry? That's being angry. Let's put pass in there for now. So we're doing a lot of things inside this function. First, we are instantiating the new asteroid. I can remove this as now. We are then grabbing the entity container from a first nodes in group thing. Then we are doing a null check to make sure that that doesn't return null. So, we know what we can add it to and that we can add it to things. We are then adding the child, connecting that specific version of this new asteroid's signal to this specific function. And because of how this works, this will actually connect all of those signals to that one specific function. And then when one fires off, it fires off the new function, which is really, really cool. And then you have a add to group, so adding it to a group, and we're appending it to a array. Now we are doing both of these things to keep track of how many asteroids are alive, and that is going to be really, really useful for when we want to spawn more asteroids, for when we want to increase the difficulty of the game via the score system. It's just really useful. And it also stops it from spawning 300,000 asteroids and then us being confused why our character dies immediately. So with that in mind, let's kind of replicate this a little bit, right? Let's go through the same process for spawn small asteroid. But for that, we're going to need another asteroid, right? We're going to need another asteroid type. So we're going to use a thing called inheritance. To do that, we're going to come down to our large asteroid in our file system here. We're going to right click and we're going to create a new inherited scene. Now you'll see here that when I did that, these boxes went yellow and it is now an unsaved scene, but it has everything inside of it. So if I rename this now to the small asteroid and I make sure that it is saved, what I can now do is I can go to say the sprite, for instance. I can change this down to a 1.0 scaling or just a 1 scaling and hit Control S or Command S and save. Then I can go back to the large asteroid. And as you can see, the scaling on the large asteroid is 1.5, not 1. Whereas if let's change this back to 1.5 and then go to the large asteroid and I change the scaling on the large asteroid to 2 and hit Control S and save and go to the small asteroid is now 2 as well. So basically the thing we inherited from, if that changes anything, it changes things on the small, like on the thing that is inherited. So let's go and change this back, right? Large asteroid 1.5, hit Control S and save. Small asteroid, sprite 1.0, which do 1, there we go. Hit Control S and save. Now that fixes the sprite sizing for our small asteroid. Now here's the weird one. If we go to the large asteroid and we go to the collision shape and we start modifying the hitboxes here or the collision shapes, you're going to run into this small issue of these collision shapes will both be modified regardless of which one you actually touch. So what we're going to do is we're going to left click on this collision shape inside of small asteroid, go to the shape, we're going to make unique. And now what we can do is adjust the size. Then I can hit Control S and save and I can come back in, and as you can see the size is the same. And now let's do it one more time for the hitbox handler. Right click on the circle up here, make unique, adjust the size, we'll adjust the position a little bit as well, hit Control S to save, pull that in, and everything is the same sizing. So now that looks good, right? We now have a small asteroid and a large asteroid, and I forgot to turn off my Discord as I tend to. There we go. And what this will allow us to do is have a small asteroid. So now let's go back to our entity container here, or entity spawn manager. Now let's once again start recreating, right? So we need a packed scene for a small asteroid. So let's go and create the export var small underscore asteroid underscore packed underscore scene of type packed scene is equal to null. Okay, so we also know that there is a maximum amount of spawnable large asteroids. Let's go and do that again for var. We'll just do this for amount underscore of underscore spawnable underscore small underscore asteroids, because we don't really care about there having a max, but we do care about there being an amount of them. We want to have at least 3 asteroids, so we'll set that equal to 3. Now with that done, let's come all the way down to our new function for spawn small asteroids, and we are going to start setting up the actual code for this. It's going to be really similar to the previous one with a slight difference. So in the normal one up here for spawning the normal large asteroids, we create a variable immediately for, well, first we do an if statement. We're not going to need to do an if statement. The next thing is this new asteroid variable. We do that immediately. We're not going to be doing that immediately. Instead, we're going to be doing just the entity container. We're going to grab the entity container. So var entity container of type node to d is equal to get underscore tree dot, in parentheses, there we go, dot get first node in group, and the group name will be the entity underscore container. Then we'll do our null check. So if the entity container is equal to null, we will then go and return. There we go. And now, what do we want to do? Well, if we do it this way, we're going to run into this issue where we create a asteroid and then we try to instantiate the exact same asteroid 3 times. The engine doesn't get too happy with that in some certain circumstances. So to do it the way that I want to do it, which is going to be with a for loop, so it's going to be running through multiple times and doing certain things multiple times. When it does that, I'm going to be basically creating or instantiating a new asteroid every single time. So let's go and do that. We'll go for new underscore asteroid in amount of spawnable asteroids. So this is our for I in, or for X in. This is basically going for 1 in 3 in this instance. So for the number 1 in 3, do something. So what do we want to do? Well, first we want to create that variable for the new underscore small underscore asteroid of type large asteroid. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to go new small asteroid. Actually, yeah, we'll just do it the normal way. Of type large asteroid, which makes little sense, but because of instance or inheritance, we are sticking with the same script, and it is of the large asteroid class. So this kind of just functions the way it does. We'll set that equal to the small asteroid pack scene dot instantiate, and then to give us just a little bit of help, we'll write as a large asteroid afterwards, and we'll delete the as in a second. So what do we want to do with this new small asteroid? Well, we just want to go ahead and go and add it to the entity container, right? We'll just grab the entity container, we'll use dot add child, and we'll pass through the new small asteroid. That's the other thing, the position. So above where we're adding it to the container here, let's just grab the positioning. Let's just grab the new small asteroid dot position, or actually we'll do global position. We'll set that equal to the new small asteroid position. There we go. So that's it. That is this done, right? We are now spawning and adding the new asteroids, or we are doing the things that we need to do to actually get them to work. Now, I'm going to run this and we'll see if this crashes, or at least gives some red errors. Now, I should have shown this off in the past and I didn't, so let's go and get it to show it off now. That is going to take too long for me to break it, but there we go. So the first thing that I've got to do, I will give myself a cookie when I start remembering to set my asteroids up correctly. Go into your main scene, the manager container, entity spawn manager, make sure to add your small asteroid scene. There we go. To make life easy, I'm going to go to the large asteroid. I'm going to change its health down to, actually no, let's change the invulnerability time down to 0.2. That should do it. Now, every time I shoot this rock, it should split. Every time I shoot this rock, it should split, right? We've got the splitting. That's great. It's doing what we want it to. Now, if I close that and come down to the debugger, you'll see these big red warnings, and that's a bit spooky. So if you haven't got warnings like this before, don't worry, you haven't actually done anything wrong. It's just the engine going help. So in this instance, it's saying can't change this state while flushing queries. Use call deferred or set deferred to change the monitoring state instead. So one of the things that I was kind of having an issue with here, or the primary things having an issue with here, is this. It's trying to do multiple things at the same time whilst it's trying to flush other things from the same thing. It's a bit confusing to kind of explain, so I'm not going to give the best explanation for it. But what I will do is show you how to fix it. So what we want to do here is what I've done in previous videos, where you will do the call deferred method. Now, in the past, we used the set deferred method for disabling a hitbox. If memory serves, we disable the hitbox and then re-enable the hitbox using set deferred. Now we're going to use call deferred, which means we need to pass through a string name for add underscore child, like so. And then we just need to pass in the child we want to add. So in this case, it will be the new small asteroid. Now hit Control S and save, hit play. And because of how we've set this up, we now have 3 asteroids spawning out of 1 larger asteroid, so 3 smaller ones. We can now shoot those ones out of the sky as well, which give us, 100 points each. They impact us, they can kill us. Everything is the exact same as if it were just normal large asteroids, but these ones are smaller. So let's go make a few more changes, right? Let's go to the small asteroid here. Let's scroll down. Let's change the score value here. Let's change that down to 50. Makes sense, they're smaller. How about the actual speed of the asteroid? Oh wait, is that what I just changed? No, I just changed the score. Health, let's lower the health down to, oh no, let's lower it down to 2. Actually, I want 3. We'll do 3 for the small asteroid. Let's go back to the large asteroid and start messing with this one. Make sure the move speed is a 3. The score value is 100. Yeah, that sounds good to me. The health value will do a 6 to do double the health of the small asteroid and kind of add a little bit of balance. Go back to the small asteroid, we'll go to the move speed, we'll make the move speed 6 and make it twice as fast. So let's go and test this. So these are now a little bit more chaotic, and that's a little bit spookier because the more asteroids there are, the harder this game tends to get, and the faster they move, the harder it is to dodge them, right? But as you can see, we are managing to, well, shoot them out of the sky pretty well. Cool, that's actually working as I kind of wanted it to. But that does leave some kind of balancing issues where, okay, maybe we're destroying them a little bit too fast. Maybe it's a bit too easy. We could adjust the damage of the projectile, or we could keep adjusting healths. Now, personally, either one kind of ends up giving roughly the same result. The more common way of approaching that type of balancing is to just lower the damage or higher the damage of something instead of starting to adjust all of the health values, because then you can get some weird inflation and it's a little bit harder to balance a lot more data. But yeah, that's kind of all I have for today. I'm so sorry this is extremely chaotic. It is the end of the week. I am kind of tired. It's been a long week. But yes, I hope you have all had a good week. I hope you all enjoy the video. Hope you're having a great game dev journey and a great day, and I will see you in the next video.